don't know what to do with it.
What's up, everybody? This is Eric from ProfaneGamer.com.
You took over,
Today,
right?
giving you a video
away,
review
the gun is
of
yours
Sleeping
too.
Dogs.
You'll take it.
This game has a pretty interesting history in that it started its life as True Crime Hong Kong. However, it had enough delays and high enough budget that Activision decided to cancel it, and Square Enix luckily decided to pick this up.
Greatest.
It's a fairly standard sandbox open world GTA clone. However, there are a couple big differences that make me far prefer this to GTA. For one thing, the environment is fantastic. Going around, I'm not familiar with Hong Kong, so I don't know how accurate it is, but either way, it's a very pretty game world that they've created, especially when you get into the rain and water effects. It's great. Character animations are fairly so-so, nothing too impressive there. But like I said, the environments are beautiful, and the voice acting for the characters makes the characters very interesting, and you get very attached to them, even if their animations themselves aren't great. Another place where it differs from Grand Theft Auto is the fighting element. The fist fighting brawls that you get into feel a lot more like something from a Batman game, Arkham City specifically, even down to the counter button. You definitely see heavy influences there, and not that that's a bad thing. You feel pretty badass as you're beating up these people, and you unlock more moves, whatnot, as you go along. Brings us to the experience system is another very unique aspect of this game. Since here you're playing as a cop, it adds some different motivations from the normal criminal do whatever you want that's common in these sandbox games. And to represent that, the experience system has 3 completely separate skill trees. One, which is the triad, which is basically the normal gang experience. You get that by basically completing objectives and doing it as brutally as possible, so doing the stylized kills and pushing people off of bridges, stuffing people's heads into fans, things like that. I get you extra points there. And then the second type is cop, which is an interesting one because it makes you play the game a little bit different from how you'd normally play this genre. Here it's done on a deduction system where you start out with your 3 total just police shields, I guess. And as soon as you start doing anything that causes trouble for the general populace, you start losing those. So, and this can be anything from stealing, property damage, or for me, just even being clumsy got me several taken away. That one, the cop experience is kind of a pain in the ass, but it is an interesting change from normal, since you're trying to drive or escape the cops or whatever without running everybody in sight over and just causing even more mayhem. The third type is face, and that is basically just your reputation with the general population of Hong Kong. You get this by completing favors. Pretty much everything you do in the game will be adding to your face, and this has its own unique, I guess, just perks that it gives you, as well as just being able to buy and use better clothing, vehicles, accessories, things like that. One of the emphasis in this game is, along with the kung fu, is the free-running parkour. They seem to spend a lot of time putting these mechanics in place. I don't find myself running around too much, other than in very scripted instances, but it is a pretty good time when you get into a flow in a cool area. Mostly I spend my time driving. Driving works pretty well. I do not like driving in games, so that's always a big deduction for me when I have to spend a lot of time going around in the car. But at least the objectives, as far as storyline go, and driving, they're not too difficult. If I had to spend a lot of time doing races and time trials, challenges in the car, I'd be far less lenient on the game, I guess. As it is, works well for getting around. The navigation system works pretty well. Personally, I prefer going around on just a motorcycle as opposed to any of the cars, just because it's easier for me to avoid hitting stuff, and I need all the help I can get. Motorcycle's a little easier for me to handle, but it's pretty good. The one big complaint is the camera will sometimes get really screwy on you, especially if you're trying to do a tight turn or reversing, especially if you're trying to reverse out of somewhere. It can sometimes spin wildly out of control and get really frustrating really fast. But as long as you're going in a straight line or not having to do a U-turn, you're generally okay there. You do get a garage, which is nice. So the vehicles that you've purchased or earned, you can pick up for free at any of these. There's garages all over the place where you can go. So along with the driving, there's a couple things that, like there's races that you can do, but then there's other mini games that kind of occur around. There's things like planting bugs, hacking cameras, even picking locks. There's safe boxes hidden around Hong Kong. Mostly they give you money. Sometimes they have other clothing items and stuff in them. There's things like health shrines around. You can pick up jade statues, which are kind of cool. They, when you return them, that's how you unlock more fighting moves. So that's always something I'm looking out for whenever I can find one of those things. There's even a bit of a dating aspect to it, and I've run into 3 or 4 different women you can kind of do little dates with, but as far as I can tell, they're not really a big part of the story. So if you're into the game for that reason, might want to look elsewhere. But they're there. They even have a silly little karaoke minigame if that's your thing as well.
Let's go sing.
Overall,
You ready to go crazy?
if you just want a game with good story, pretty environment, and you're into this open world sandbox stuff, I'd highly recommend this game. Like I said, I prefer it to things like Grand Theft Auto. The world's a little bit smaller than Liberty City is, but each zone in it feels very unique. It all feels like it was handcrafted rather than just the massive sprawling cookie cutter thing that Grand Theft Auto always feels like to me.
So you want to set me straight?
Eventually.
And the combat is fun. It's not too difficult, but it's not so easy that you're just bored. This is a very fun game. I'm very pleased that Square Enix decided to save it after it was dropped originally and brought us this. Thanks, everybody. Visit us at profanegamer.com for more reviews, videos, gameplay, and other video game bullshit. Thanks. Peace.